Husbands see this title scared to death, right? Come in and see Bitcoin mining industry is dead. Who said that? I said I'm definitely an old miner. I'm absolutely firm on Bitcoin, absolute faith, but I'm very serious today. I want to share it with you. In my opinion, there is no chance for the Bitcoin mining industry. Of course, the surface of the direct reason is because of the halving in May, the production fell, but my electricity costs remain the same. The price of the coin is not rising. I have no profit to speak of. But this is not the first time I have encountered this situation. I have experienced 2 bulls and bears. The last time after the halving is also this situation, but I then firmly bought new money. I have experienced 2 rounds of bulls and bears after the last halving is also this situation, but I was determined to buy a new machine to improve my arithmetic and continue to invest to mine. But this round, why I decided not to buy a new machine, the reason is very simple, is that I saw a phenomenon that makes me very harmful. Fear of this year's halving of the entire network power actually did not decline. We look at this entire network power statistics chart dotted line position. It is the history of many times halving of the moment before every halving of the power of the situation appeared to decline, but only this time did not. You know what this means? It means that there should be a large number of machines eliminated, shut down, but this time there is no in. Or in other words, only my machine does not make money, I shut down. But other people's machines didn't shut down. Other people's machines are still running, so there's no massive drop in power across the network. The question is, why did I shut down? Who didn't shut down? There are 2 kinds of situation. One is lower than my potential. The other is higher than my output. First of all, the part of the electricity cost, who is lower than my electricity cost at present. The global mining pattern, roughly, the electricity cost is as follows. The United States of America's electricity costs an average of $7.5 US after tax. Southeast Asia's electricity after tax is $6.5 US. Central Asia's electricity cost after tax is $6 US after tax. The Russia's electricity after tax is 5 and 8 US minutes after tax. The electricity cost in Africa is an average of $5.5 US. Due to the policy uncertainties, cannot talk about the tax to be called protection fee at best. So there are only 2 countries that have lower electricity rates than me, Russia and Africa. I can't move my machines to them. It's impossible. I can't trust these 2 places. Russia, I don't speak the language, and I can't confirm the stability of my machines. In the region Africa, I've looked for mines, and the regimes are unstable, and I can't sign a contract, for example. I actually thought of shipping my machines to Africa in February before I cut it by half. Angola and the mine owner talked very well. All kinds of conditions have been negotiated. I want to move there when the local policy changes. This has been the law, down the cooperation of the mine owner immediately from what foreign investment entrepreneurs into the local lawbreakers. Well, then we do not go to envy these 2 lower than my electricity bill. Then say there is another possibility, is not the official handover of the people, then my production capacity is higher. Who has a higher output than me is obviously someone who has a better machine than me. My current machine is the last generation of the 𝗧𝗃 series. Average arithmetic power of about 100 T is really outdated. The person who has a better machine should really have a higher output than me. Let's take a look at this high output machine than the 𝗧𝗃 series of machines with a higher output of more than 200 T that are water-cooled. When it comes to water-cooled machines, this thing is very expensive because it is different from the air-cooled machine, the water-cooled machine too. Buy a machine at the same time, you have to buy a cabinet. Let's look at the Bitmain website. How much does a cabinet cost? $70,000 US. This one cabinet can hold 210 machines, but how much is a machine water-cooled? More than $6,000 US. Of course, this is the 𝗧𝗃 series of water-cooled machines. There are 2 series of water-cooled machines up quoted at $10,000 US. This who can afford to buy this 𝗧𝗃 series of water-cooled machines. 200 a unit is more than $1 million. I am a young man. How this huge amount of money? I'm too young to have that kind of money. So who has such strength who did not shut down the machine? Are listed companies. Everyone. Here's something a lot of you might not know. Back in the brutal bear markets of 2021 and 2022, several North American Bitcoin mining companies quietly went public. They come from a financial background, and they're really good at raising a lot of money on the secondary market, a lot of money to build mines, to buy machines, for example. The top publicly listed mining company by market cap right now is who? Marathon. Its market cap is still sitting at $5.4 billion. Look at their shareholder background. BlackRock and Vanguard are their top 2 shareholders. All right, besides Marathon is number 1, but then there's Riot, BitDeer, and many others. There are over 20 publicly listed mining companies in North America. It's because of them that this time around, the total network hash rate, which should have dropped due to the halving, has stayed rock solid up until now. So first, we can't compete with Russia or Africa. Second, we can't compete with public companies. So basically, this time around, I'm completely out of the Bitcoin mining game. I'm out. And who do I represent? Not just myself, but also all the small and medium-sized miners out there. Small and medium Bitcoin miners. In this round, we've almost all been wiped out. Only a few brave and resilient ones remain. Who went to Africa or Russia, risking it all to keep mining there? So what does it mean when small and medium players exit the game? Well, it means that the entire Bitcoin mining space has become the first sector in the blockchain industry to reach full monopoly. Not only has it become monopolized, I'm telling you, in the future, it'll be the least profitable industry. It's also the biggest ticking time bomb in the entire blockchain foundation. Now, I don't say these things without reason. Why do I say it won't be profitable? Let's break down the economics of it. Based on the configuration we talked about earlier, let's configure a high-end liquid-cooled mining rig for BTC. First, we'll buy the mining container. One mining $70,000. Plus the cost of the 210 miners inside, that's $70,000 plus 210 times $6,168, that's $1.36 million. How many terabytes of computing power can we buy for $1.36 million? Actually, one machine is 257 terabytes. With 210 machines, we've bought a total of 53,879 T of power, so the power of a mining box is 1,030 kilowatts. The cost of electricity in the US is 7.5 cents, and the difficulty of mining will not continue to increase, which is ideal. Using F2Pool's calculator, we find that, as you can see, using this liquid-cooled mining container for 4 years, you still won't break even, at least not with Bitcoin's current price. You just won't break even, and 4 years later, these machines' production will halve again. These machines could all become obsolete. They'll be retired. And it turns out that we haven't made our money back yet. Some of you might say, you're calculating electricity costs too high. Sure, in the US, it's 7.5 cents, but it's cheaper in other countries. All right, let's calculate using 6 cents. Even at 6 cents, it still takes 1,159 days to break even. So even then, these publicly traded companies may have squeezed us small and medium miners out of the game. But the meat they're eating right now isn't all that juicy either. It's not that profitable. It still takes 1,159 days to break even. For a public company, that might be okay. But for us sitting here, if you have $136 million, why wouldn't you just buy 22 Bitcoin directly? 3 years later, if Bitcoin doubles in price, you've got a 2x return. If Bitcoin drops by 50% in 3 years, sure, you've lost 50% of your principal, but that's still better than mining. You've got to realize mining could be even worse. When the coin price drops, your machines are off. Income, zero. All right, now that we've covered why it's not profitable, let's talk about why it's a ticking time bomb. Now, some of you might say if it's not profitable, isn't that the ticking time bomb? A lot of beginner miners might think that's the case, and it does seem that way because in their understanding, what are miners actually doing? They're helping secure the Bitcoin network by doing calculations. They're helping everyone who's transacting Bitcoin by keeping the ledger accurate. If miners aren't making money, no one's going to maintain the ledger, and the Bitcoin network would collapse. That sounds like it makes perfect sense. But no, that's not the case. That logic doesn't hold up. Why? Because of Satoshi Nakamoto's genius design. This situation just can't happen. What's going on exactly? Simply put, whenever miners aren't making money, what do? They turn off their machines. But since each company has different electricity costs, their shutdown price varies. If miners are going to shut down, it'll be the ones with the highest shutdown price that go first. Then as long as the shutdown price is high and some people shut down, the computing power of the entire hash rate will decrease. The income of the remaining people who insist on mining will increase. So they'll still be able to maintain some profit, keep their machines running, and secure the Bitcoin network. So Bitcoin won't die just because miners aren't making money. What could really kill Bitcoin? So is a 51 attack. At its core, blockchain is what exactly? It's a distributed ledger. It records every transaction of cryptocurrencies on the network. So what's a 51 attack? It means that when you can control more than 50% of the network, you can launch an attack on the blockchain. The attacker, who controls the majority of the network, can prevent other miners from completing blocks, disrupting the recording of new blocks. But in the past, launching an attack on Bitcoin or Ethereum was nearly impossible. This kind of 51 attack used to only happen on smaller blockchain networks. But now, Bitcoin mining has changed. Carrying out such an attack is no longer impossible. There are 2 reasons for that. The first reason, take a look at this chart. Just look at it for 3 seconds. Done? In short, after Bitcoin halved in May this year, each block produces how many Bitcoins? 125 BTC per block, with 1 block every 10 minutes. That's 6 blocks per hour. Each block has 3.125 BTC. So how much does the entire Bitcoin mining industry produce in a year? That's 6 times 3.125. Times 24 hours times 365 days, you end up with 160,000 BTC. The total value of the Bitcoin mining industry is $70,000. What's the annual output of the entire Bitcoin mining industry? That's $11 billion. If that number doesn't mean much to you, let me give you a data. Do you know how many Bitcoins BlackRock's IBIT ETF has bought up so far? Take a look at this report. 100,000 Bitcoin, and they're not done accumulating yet. Let's assume by the end of the year, they'll hold about 400,000 BTC. What does 400,000 BTC mean? That's 2.5 times the annual production of 160,000 BTC. The imbalance in power is already massive. And if you think it's manageable this year, okay, fast forward 4 years. After the next halving, look at the second row in the chart. 4 years later, only 80,000 BTC will be mined in a year. 8 years later, just 40,000 BTC per year, and BlackRock still holds 400,000 BTC. What does that mean? It means that their holdings will be equal to 10% of the entire Bitcoin network's hash rate. That's as much as 100% of the total network's hash rate. So 8 years from now, reaching 51% control for a giant like BlackRock will be a piece of cake. Forget 51% control over the hash rate. If they've got the cash, they could control 100% of it without breaking a sweat. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, beauty, you're underestimating Bitcoin's future price. Okay, let's fast forward 12 years. What if Bitcoin hits $1 million per coin? Each block would produce 0.39 BTC. That's just 20,000 BTC per year. Bitcoin would be worth trillions, but that year's mining output would only be worth $20 billion, and BlackRock holds 400,000 BTC. That's $400 billion. That's still 20 times the annual production. How could you even compete with that? If they decide to act maliciously and launch a 51 attack on the Bitcoin system, they could alter or block every single transaction going forward. They could disrupt the network. At that point, Bitcoin's network security would be gone. Some of you might be thinking, ayo beauty, the BlackRock has tons of money, but that doesn't mean they can control the hash rate or mining farms. Well, let me give you the second reason. Take a look. Since last year in my research, I noticed that BlackRock has been quietly buying up Bitcoin mining operations. They're not just buying unlisted mining companies, they're even buying up publicly listed mining companies. They're acquiring them too. Right now, they're one of the biggest shareholders of the top 3 mining companies globally. Look at this. Marathon, Riot, and CleanSpark, CLSK. BlackRock is the largest shareholder. Vanguard is second. So, as long as they have money, there's no hash rate control they can't buy. Of course, I'd prefer to believe that BlackRock, which is issuing Bitcoin spot ETFs and acquiring Bitcoin mining operations, is doing it simply because they believe in the growth of our industry. Not because they have some bigger ambition to control the entire Bitcoin hash rate network. After all, human nature is inherently good, right?